Ever wondered why the apple fell on Newton? Or why we don't drift off into space? It's all thanks to an invisible force we call gravity. Imagine gravity as a shy, unseen hero, always working behind the scenes. It's like a constant magnet pulling objects towards each other. That's gravity for you. Gravity is the reason why when you jump, you don't but come right back to the ground. It's the silent force that keeps our feet firmly planted on the Earth's surface. Yes, gravity is why everything on Earth remains on Earth, even if it looks like it would fall off. So gravity, it's not just a good idea, it's a law that governs everything from the tiniest dust particle to the largest stars in the universe. Remember, gravity is the invisible force that keeps your feet on the ground, literally. Now let's turn our attention to force. You might associate it with Star Wars, but in physics, it's a whole different story. When we talk about force in the realm of physics, we're referring to a push or a pull on an object that results from the object's interaction with another object. Let's imagine for a moment that you're pushing a stalled car. You're exerting a force on that car, compelling it to move from its stationary position. It's interesting to note that the car also exerts an equal and opposite force on you, in accordance with Newton's third law of motion. But don't worry, you're not going to be flung backwards because the force you exert on the ground with your feet is greater than the force the car exerts on you. The unit of force in the International System of Units is the Newton, named after the apple-loving genius Sir Isaac Newton. 1 Newton is the amount of force required to accelerate a 1 kilogram object by 1 meter per second squared. If you're wondering how to measure that, do not fret. There are tools like spring scales and force sensors that can measure force in newtons. So in essence, force is this invisible power that we constantly use in our daily lives without even realizing it. So next time you push a door open or pull a sled, remember you're applying force. Now that we've got the basics down, let's see how gravity shows up in our everyday lives. Think about the last time you dropped something, maybe a ball or a glass of water. That object didn't hang in midair, did it? No, it accelerated towards the ground. That's gravity. Or consider when you're walking. With each step, you're essentially falling forward, but your other foot comes up to meet the ground and keep the fall controlled. That's again gravity, always ready to pull you down. And what about jumping? You know that moment when you're at the peak of your jump and there's this split second where you're neither going up nor coming down? That's the magic of gravity. It's like a tug of war, and gravity always wins, pulling you back to the ground. Let's go back to the example of a dropped ball. The moment it leaves your hand, gravity takes over, pulling it towards the ground. The ball accelerates under gravity's influence, reaching a faster and faster speed until it hits the ground. And that's gravity in a nutshell. So whether you're playing basketball or just picking up a dropped pencil, you're experiencing gravity in action. Force isn't just a concept in physics textbooks. It's something we experience every day. Now, let's take a look at our everyday lives and see how force plays a crucial role. Imagine you're at the grocery store, pushing a shopping cart down the aisle. The effort you're exerting to move the cart forward, that's force. You're pushing against the cart and the cart is pushing back against you, thanks to our good friend, Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, remember? Now, picture yourself at an airport pulling your luggage. The pull you exert to drag your suitcase along is also a force. And don't forget, the heavier the luggage, the more force you need to pull it. That's because the mass of an object is directly proportional to the force required to move it. Even when you're writing with a pencil, you're applying a force. The pencil moves across the paper because you're pushing it, and the harder you push, the darker the line. So force is not some abstract scientific idea, it's a part of our daily lives, as real as the shopping cart you push, the luggage you pull, or the pencil you write with. So in the world of physics, you've been using force all along without even knowing it.